Well, Camp, Lexi, how have you been adjusting to them time horses being time cow fellas and such?
I only threw up 3 times on the way back. It's fine.
Where are we?
We're going back in time again, even further than 2010, which is going to be a big shock.
Oh, no.
We're going back to right before World War II, so a pretty big jump from 2010.
Okay, so actually back in time.
Actually back in time, yes. And last episode was just to wet our whistles, as we so call it, and tonight will be the show. The big show.
Isn't that somebody on MTV?
I think the big show is a WWE character wrestler.
Okay.
I love WWE. My favorite post-World War I show.
World War E.
World War everywhere. That's what WWE stands for.
We're going to World War E,
Going
boys.
World War E. World War everywhere. But we're gonna.
Oh no.
We're gonna find the guy who ties our entire podcast together.
Oh my gosh. Please don't say Hitler.
Hello! My goodness! Oh my goodness! Hello and welcome to the How Could You Forget podcast.
That was a serious thing because you said before World War II and I got scared that you were doing a bit.
Oh, good Lord. But the How Could You Forget podcast is the podcast where your favorite time cowboys and cowgirl come together and discuss a topic you've forgotten about, never heard of, or is simply too good to forget.
Okay, so context for the listeners. Before we started recording, I learned what the name of the episode was about the man who tied it all together. I made a bet that it was about shoelaces, but now I want to change my bet and say that it's about Hitler, because that's so funny.
You said we were going back before World War II, and I'm like, oh no, is he going to do a bit?
Oh no. The man who tied it all together, and then it's just the most ominous mustache in the middle of
That's awful. Yeah, we do not endorse any
I don't even know if I could do that
actions
without hurting the video. I don't know.
we are
I feel like
very anti-Nazi.
it should be very obvious.
Yeah.
We don't like Hitler. Hitler's not a good dude. Hot take. But
oh my good Lord. Thank you so much for that, Lexi. That's a great start to the episode.
Oh, you're welcome. I probably freaked some people out there.
Oh goodness, yes. Now I'm gonna have to make sure that people know it's not Hitler in the thumbnail. So that's gonna be really
It's
important.
very not. Yeah.
in the thumbnail, you just put a photo of Hitler and then a red arrow and then just text
It's
not that guy.
Not Hitler.
not Hitler.
Just FYI.
Oh my good Lord.
Phenomenal title and thumbnail combo. Holy shit.
Okay, but before we even begin, I have to give an astounding round of applause and a huge thank you to the one, the only Camp Mom. She's been nothing but amazing. She raised a whole third of this podcast, and if I do say so myself,
true.
Did a great job doing it.
Oh my gosh, 33%.
That's a lot.
I know. And on top of that, she actually suggested the topic for this episode, the man of the hour, not Hitler. And as we'll come to find out, this guy might actually be the entire reason this podcast was created and ties it all together. Has been secretly pulling the strings for the last few months up to this point.
Really?
Oh, okay.
This episode is about a man named Jack Parsons. So thank you, Camp Mom, for plopping this in our laps. I hope I can do this topic justice. As well, if anyone else in the audience has any topics or subjects you'd like to hear us discuss on this podcast, feel free to leave comments down below on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio formats such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can Bluesky, send a message or comment on Patreon or tweet any topic suggestions at us, and we'll be sure to get those written down for you.
And if you're my mom, you can just tell me, and then I can forward it to, to Gordon.
And as always, thank you all for listening and being so supportive to us through this fortnight podcast that we do.
Woo.
So I know Camp at least read the Wikipedia blurb on Jack Parsons. I don't know how much you read or how deep you went into it. But Lexi, do you know who Jack Parsons is, or does his name ring any bells to you at all?
I thought you said Jack Parsnip at first. So, it's one of those things where he's not ringing any bells because it sounds like the most generic white guy name I've ever heard.
Well, you're going to be surprised because he does look like a pretty generic white guy.
Oh my goodness, no way. But I'm going to say no, and then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, so he actually invented the Hot Pocket. And I'm going to be like, wow, okay. So.
Well, not the Hot Pocket, as far as I know. But if you do a quick Google or Bing search, for those people that use Bing for Jack Parsons, you're going to get some very interesting headlines and website headers, including a couple that I wrote down and have used for sources for this very podcast.
And this is all the same guy?
Yes.
Okay.
But these are all these are my three favorite that I found. The first one being the Satanist who put us on the moon. Quote, the sex cult antichrist who rocketed us to space. And a random YouTube video with 10 views that I did not use for my sources, but the thumbnail was for whatever reason on the front page that just simply says scientist sorcerer on top and a rocket, Jack Parsons' face, in a generic occult gathering, and then the bottom that just says NASA's occult founder at the bottom for some reason. But they really went all out on that thumbnail.
So I'm going to assume that he was a scientist who also dabbled in magical things.
Yes, absolutely, Lexi, you are correct.
Right, okay. Best of both worlds. I see it.
Exactly. And in the best way to even say best of both worlds as well, the first half of this will be a lot more setup and a lot more things of like, hey, here was Jack Parsons' life, da-da-da-da. And then the last half is just crazy. So just as a quick heads up, but you kind of need the first stuff to be like, why on earth did the back stuff happen? But
that is fair.
Okay.
I mean, the first 5 minutes of this podcast so far has been pretty crazy.
Yes,
so maybe we should.
Exactly.
We can have
Jack
a little
Parsons
bit of chill
is
as a
actually
treat.
Darth Vader. Oh my god.
Whoa! Well, way to spoil the episode.
Oh,
God.
damn, Lexi. But as a warning to those listening at home, if you could tell by the words that I just used, including the word Satanists and sex cult antichrist, this might not be an episode for everyone. So if you have some young ones around who might not understand the intricacies of the Antichrist, you might want to put them on another episode.
They need to read the Left Behind series then if they don't understand the intricacies of the Antichrist. Thank you.
Yes. And also, going forward, I'm going to try and be a bit better of marking episodes, at least on audio formats, as E for explicit for the subject matter. So if we have one that's marked E, then it's probably a little bit more, quote, raunchy. But all the other ones,
half the episodes.
Yes, it basically is. It's really funny. It's like half of them are just E, half of them aren't. But it's just always like a split down the middle. It's so funny. To begin this off, Jack Parsons was a very important early engineer. Lexi, you were correct about that, and a chemist. And without him, I personally don't know how successful modern rockets would be. Basically,
Wow.
That's how kind of important this guy is. And I wrote somewhere in my outline that basically, he might be the least known, like, highly influential person that might have shaped so much stuff. As without him, a lot of the very early rocket science, like literally rocket science, would probably not be as advanced or pushed or had reached the heights, no pun not intended, the heights that it really did back in the early 40s and stuff like that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's start where we usually start these episodes. Jack Parsons was born on October 2nd, 1914 in Los Angeles, California.
Oh my gosh, he did World War II.
He caused
World
it.
War
No.
He caused World War I. Sorry, not World
It's
War
a
II.
canon event. No.
It is.
The birth of Jack Parsons spurred World War I.
Whoa.
Let's go.
But Jack Parsons was originally named Marvel Whiteside Parsons because his father, I know.
Marvel, like the superheroes?
Why didn't you keep that name?
I'm about to tell you why, but Lexi, what was your question? Sorry.
Marvel, like the superheroes?
Yes,
The way it's
spelled like the Marvel.
Oh my goodness. Marvel, what was it?
Whiteside Parsons.
White side. Okay.
Always look on the white side.
But yes. But his parents, again, y'all are joking and clowning around, but it's so easy. His parents were literally named Marvel H. Parsons and Ruth Virginia Whiteside. So they just basically
okay. So his middle name was his mother's maiden name. Okay,
yes.
that one makes more sense. All right.
They just did like a Goku fusion dance.
the names.
And then a Super Saiyan boy. Like, I don't like
Super
what?
Saiyan name.
Exactly. But his mom and dad had moved to California only about a year before Jack was born. And while I thought I had a big shakeup around my birth, it's nothing compared to Jack at about the age of 1, where according to multiple sources, shortly after Jack was born, his mother discovered that Marvel Parsons, his father, was cheating on her with what one source described as a, quote, scarlet woman. While most others just come out and say that she was a sex worker. So,
okay.
Ruth divorced Marvel and cut off any and all communication between father and son, and changed Marvel's name to John. But everybody just decided to call him Jack, which I really don't understand.
Okay.
I kept having to look it up of like, wait, why did it say she changed his name to John, but everybody called him Jack? Like, I really don't understand.
That's actually so interesting. Okay, unironically, that's actually really interesting because I know multiple people, like even at, like Jack's films, actually, you would think his name was Jack, but it actually is John. So there's like, I know like 3 people separately who go by the name Jack, but were named John. I don't know what the...
That's wild. Oh
that
my
is
goodness.
crazy.
So weird.
All Johns eventually
like
become Jack.
Jimmy and James.
True.
Like,
no,
I mean,
maybe.
Like, why is Jimmy the nickname?
I don't know. I
for
never
James?
thought of Jimmy and James as interchangeable, but I'm also stupid, so I like maybe that is a common thing.
Okay. I don't
Anyway,
know either.
names are weird. Names are
very odd.
Yeah.
But Jack's father, Marvel, moved back to the East Coast, where he settled down, apparently joined the military, got remarried, and had a child with another woman, and that's about all you need to know. Jack eventually met his half-brother exactly one time, and that was it. So...
Okay.
Dad's out of the picture now.
Okay.
But from what you can tell, Marvel Parsons, the father, really liked scarlet women, as they were called. And
then why did he get married again?
I don't know, Lexi.
Like, just
I
live
really
your
don't
whole
know.
life. Live your whole face.
This was the 10s and 20s.
Yeah,
it was
he's
probably
also
like,
a white man. Who cares?
That's a good point. If anyone could have a hoe phase in the 1910s,
It was a white man.
It would be a white man named Marvel, no less.
Yeah.
Yes. And DC, but yes.
True.
But Ruth really wanted to discourage Jack from following in any of his father's footsteps of being interested in these scarlet women and being very loosey-goosey, as you would call it. But as we're going to come to find out much later, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as I wrote here. But with Jack out of the picture, what is a single mom in the early 1900s in a brand new state with not many connections or means to support herself supposed to do?
Sex work.
I feel like Lexi already got it.
Either that or a factory job.
You'd think so. Apparently, what she did was she called her super rich mom and dad from Massachusetts.
Oh my God.
To have them both move to California and purchase a house in Pasadena, specifically the area of Pasadena known as Millionaire's Mile.
Oh my God.
What?
And just, oh, hey, help support this new family and single mother to raise a child.
This feels like plot armor.
It's
Wow.
Where did this come from? Like, what? Who are these 2 new characters that were just manifested in this story? Like,
oh my
what?
gosh. Oh, it's so crazy. And while I'm not one to usually make connections where there are none, I personally feel as though being raised in this very high-end fancy lifestyle, especially as a single child, or an only child to a single mother, really didn't give him much time to explore a lot of social activities and stuff like that, just kind of being kept at home and stuff like that, and just go read your book, Jack or John, whatever they called him at the time. Jack, just go read your books and stuff like that.
Johnny boy.
Johnny boy. He didn't have any friends, basically.
Aw.
But
he's totally going to develop so normally from you telling us this.
Oh,
Yes.
totally.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing a video on him, because he's so normal.
Oh, of course. It's just, just literally be the average life of a person from like the 1980s until their death, and that'll just be like
we should just do that for an
Most
April Fool's
people
episode at some point.
Most people in the 1980s shouldn't be dead, bro.
Okay, well they could be.
Some of them might be.
Them probably are, but I would have went
Yeah.
farther back and said like the 40s.
From last episode when I tried to make it sound like the 2010s was simultaneously the furthest thing ever, and also where it was still the Facebook. I'm really bad with time. Okay, please stop bullying me. But for whatever reason, every single source that I found for this, and they'll all be listed in the notes below, mentioned that Jack was a big nerd, like a huge nerd, on top of like being very like alone, and not in the nerd way of like being very good at school, because almost all of them also mentioned that he struggled at school. but just so much that he had a very nerdy interest for the time, such as like reading, and specifically reading comic books and reading like science fiction novels and fantasy novels and stuff like that.
Oh my God, is he Stan Lee, Mr. Marvel?
it's Mr. Marvel. He became Stan Lee. No. But one of the things that he really fell in love with was the idea of rockets and space travel. To the point that him and one of his only childhood friends named Edward Foreman would take fireworks and would try to use their gunpowder to make at-home rockets in their backyard.
Oh, okay.
And even at 12 years of age, when he was doing these homegrown rockets, Parsons was really, really sharp and actually kind of like broke the mold. He, instead of just like pouring the gunpowder from a cherry bomb, which again, I don't know much about rockets or like making explosives at home, but when they first started, what they would do is they would just basically take the gunpowder from like a cherry bomb or like a firework and like pour it into a rocket and just light the bottom on fire, and then it would just like explode.
Damn.
But what he started to do was that he would then mix glue into the gunpowder so it would hold together and they could compact the gunpowder like more densely at the bottom.
Oh.
And then eventually after that, then they started implementing aluminum foil to, quote, cast the gunpowder how they wanted to give it even more control. And while I tried to look up stuff about gunpowder casting or gunpowder cast, all I would get for searches was Kit Harington from the show Gunpowder being the cast from the 2017 HBO miniseries. So I couldn't find much on that except for Kit Harington, just as a quick heads up. But just wanted to mention that. For a 12-year-old, him and his friend Edward were making some very advanced explosives, basically, and sometimes they would be successful. A lot of the times they would just blow up in the yard and just leave a hole in the yard, basically.
Nice.
Is there any movies about this guy?
There's, I think I saw there's a CBS miniseries, I think, called like Dark Angel or something like that, I think. I'll have to look that up and confirm. But
badass name.
Yeah, I was really like, what? But as time went on, Jack, like I mentioned, he was really nerdy, but he wasn't very good at school. And one source, I think specifically the Caltech source, I think mentions that he might have suffered from dyslexia, but again, just was not diagnosed at the time. And so just really struggled with like finer learning and stuff like that. And so his mom pulled him out of public schools and threw him into the Brown Military Academy for boys. He wasn't there for very long, because he was expelled. And would either of you like to take a guess as to why he was expelled?
Blew something up.
Yes, both of you.
Ding, ding, ding.
In all of the sources, they specifically say that he, quote, blew up the school's toilets.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not sure because no source really explains. They just mention that in passing. And I'm like, please tell me more.
Whether that was like... needs context. Like, I want to know.
I'm not sure if that's what, like, the room of, like, the boys' toilets. Like, saying that he just blew up an explosive in the room labeled toilets, or if he literally blew up multiple toilets or what. Like, I need to know, but I couldn't figure it out.
Bowling ball bomb in the toilet.
Yes. He blew up multiple toilets. He blew up singular toilets. He blew up a room. I don't know. But he had a knack for blowing shit up, as we will continue to find out through this podcast. And shortly after returning from boarding school, the beginnings and rumblings of the Great Depression began to hit. And Jack's family was sadly not spared. The family fortune took a massive hit.
Oh, the Millionaire Row or whatever?
Yes.
Oh, no.
But it took a massive hit, and then apparently it even took a larger hit when Jack's grandfather died 2 years later. And the family, through a series of events, had to move from Millionaire's Mile to a, quote, modest house. Which I assume is just not a mansion. It's basically what I
darn. Well, everybody else was living in Hoovervilles.
Now they just have like a 3,000 square foot house instead of like a 6,000. Oh no.
But yes, like all the sources just kept saying like modest house. Like the family had to move to a modest house, and I'm like, what does that mean though? Like, give me more. And I shit you not. Eventually, around this time, he was about to go into college and university, and he ended up attending a school called University School.
This isn't real. Okay. This is not a real person. This is not.
It was apparently a
April
new type
Fool's
of.
Was 2 months ago.
University school was apparently trying to be a very new type of, quote, liberal learning on the West Coast. And anytime I looked it up for like California University School and stuff like that, it just kept coming up with the universities and schools in California.
My name is John Parsons. I grew up in Millionaire Mile and I go to university school.
I am a normal human being. I have a normal life.
Sounds like a Roblox character.
I blew up toilets. I went to military school and blew up toilets. Hello.
Oh my god. Okay,
but
go on.
You're fine. And even though he was going to this university school, and he had to get employed, of course, to help support himself and his family, and so he picked up a job on the side, not a full-time job because he was mostly trying to go for school, at the Hercules Powder Company based out of Los Angeles, where they manufactured explosive material and smokeless powders. And we know Jack is really into explosives and smokeless powders. And after getting quite a bit of experience both in chemistry at university school and making connections with professors at Caltech, he really honed in and decided that he wanted to go down the path of chemistry as his main source of interest. And with him literally working in the chemistry field, like literally helping to produce explosive materials and these like powders and stuff like that, he became very knowledgeable and had plenty of hands-on experience learning what different chemical reactions and like doing all of these tests, and then he would occasionally take that knowledge and sometimes take stuff from his job that he wasn't supposed to. Back to his friend that I mentioned earlier, Edward Foreman, and they would go and make bigger and more experimental rockets out in the desert. Like they would just like load up a truck and go like take stuff out to the desert and just go blow up rockets and shit. And the first connection to the podcast, because this is the man who tied it all together, is after working off and on with Hercules Powder Company, he ended up having to take a full-time job there, where they moved him out to San Francisco. And he became a dude from San Francisco.
We're just dudes in San Francisco.
Let's go, dude. We're all dudes in San Francisco.
The first connection. The first connection.
Gosh. Oh.
But apparently he had to stop working there in San Francisco after complaining that the nitroglycerin made his head hurt too much.
Okay.
So fair, maybe?
Yes. As well as that he was apparently trying to save up money to afford tuition at Stanford, but realized that it was just going to be outside of his reach to be able to afford that. And so he ended up coming back to Pasadena instead.
I love how his biggest struggle is trying to come up with the money to go to Stanford. Not that he would have been rejected because his grades were terrible.
Of course. I mean, if you were actually this genuinely like, as we'll,
if you were
we'll
this
come to find
brilliant
out,
chemist, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm just like, wow, that's wild.
Exactly. And now all of this setup and still some more to get us to know Jack Parsons and how he might be like super, super impactful to rockets. And you can kind of see all this, like you can see the pieces coming together, right? Like you have to have those first pieces.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing with making things go boom. He's just using it wrong.
Exactly. But after coming back from San Francisco, he made a few more connections with like-minded rocket lovers, such as Frank Molina, who you might know if you're a nerd. He's another famous rocketeer and engineer who ended up working with Jack Parsons, and through a bunch of other connections and work, a huge connection with Caltech and the resources that they had at Caltech. They made bigger and bigger rockets and systems to the point that Caltech basically helped them make their own facility, which would then become known as the JPL, or as you might know it now, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I kind of rushed a bit of that middle part because, again, I could sit there and go, so whenever Jack Parsons came back and met Mr. Molina, then Mr. Molina met this guy, and then they made this other friend, and then this other thing, like, it's just much quicker to go basically like jump, jump, jump. Hey, through a bunch of these perfect, like, lightning in a bottle people coming together, it helped make NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is, again, like, once-in-a-lifetime situation because basically it was essentially Jack Parsons was the chemist. I think Molina was the engineer. And then they even brought his friend back as well. I always forget his friend's name and I have to go look for it every single time. Edward, yeah. And they had like his friend Edward, and he was the guy who would like keep track of logistics and stuff like that. And it made this really good team where they would all work off each other because Frank Moline was much more academic, while Parsons was much more like, let's just go make a rocket. And so then it would like push each other to like push and pull, and then they ended up again making bigger and bigger experiments. But
yeah, it's a good kind of dynamic to have.
Yeah. And so now we know Jack got into the field of rocketry and made quite a name for himself. We could keep talking about that, but it's kind of boring, if I'm just going to be honest. Like, there's like pages after pages of stuff like, technically he helped do this thing, and then technically he did this thing. Or I could tell you how Jack Parsons, through his childhood comic books, got introduced to the occult. And
that
from that point on, like apparently he specifically would chant occult things before doing any things with rockets. How he got interested in socialism and then even smoked the devil's lettuce at one point. So I'm much
that
more.
Why it's called the devil's lettuce?
Because of him. Oh no, it's not that time. But because we've now reached roughly the halfway point, and I think we know what time it is. Camp, get the stinger ready. The one that we haven't made yet. Still. It's time for You Don't Know Glup Shitto. If you don't know what Glup Shitto is, I give the hosts 2 possible Star Wars names from the hit series Star Wars. One of them is real, and the other is entirely made up, and it's up to our hosts to use their knowledge of George Lucas and guess which one is real and which one is fake. And today, the 2 names are Gannio Kovani, that is Gannio Kovani, or Tasu Leech. Leech.
Lexi, do you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go ahead. I've seen 6 of these movies, and this never gets any easier.
Lamau. So what? Could you say the names one more time each? Please,
those are Gannio Kovani and Tasu Leech.
I'm gonna say that Tasu Leech is real because Gannio Kovani just sounds like an Italian name.
I'm gonna go with Leech too, because Leech just sounds fun.
Okay, we both got the same
one. You all
one.
are both correct. Y'all are correct.
Yay!
Tasu Leech is the real Star Wars character. The image is on screen now of Tasu Leech.
Oh, an actual person. Okay.
Yeah, that's just
let's go.
That's just a person from Star Wars, and that is again the podcast within a podcast of You Don't Know Glup Shitto. But
we did it. We're getting so much Star Wars lore.
We are
Star lore.
Star Lords. Yes,
Star Lords.
Not to be confused with Star Lords. But anyway. Back to
Marvel. It all comes back together. Sorry.
The man, he tied it all together. He did it again. Oh my god.
Whoa! Second connection.
Oh my gosh. But you see, back to Jack Parsons and the man who tied it all together. Jack Parsons, as I mentioned way earlier, was very interested in science fiction, and I mentioned also just a little bit earlier that he was less academic. And Jack Parsons was kind of the wild child of this group that ended up making JPL. And they became known as the Suicide Squad by the people around them.
Oh my god!
What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
What?
That's DC, not Marvel.
Now when you brought up DC earlier, it makes sense. Oh my god!
It's all tied together. It's all tied together. Oh my god, I love it so much. But yeah, they literally called them the Suicide Squad because they would just go like, hey, we're gonna go blow up a rocket in the desert, and like they almost died multiple times from the rocket like exploding on the pad and shit like that. So
oh my gosh.
But that was one of the major things was the Suicide Squad, which I had to mention. And in yet another connection right after the Suicide Squad connection that'll become rather large to this podcast, Jack would apparently recite the hymn to Pan before rocket tests. And Lexi, do you remember or know what that is?
Does this have to link back to Aleister Crowley?
It does indeed have to link back to
I knew it.
Aleister.
When you said the occult, I'm like, oh, I bet Aleister Crowley's coming back up.
What?
I love Camp stepping away from the microphone or leaning back to yell. It's so good.
Oh my god, what is happening? Okay.
Aleister Crowley wrote it's an incantation, I believe. Invocation, sorry, very different. Invocation by Aleister Crowley called the Hymn to Pan, and I tried to look it up.
You're invoking Pan.
Yes, you're invoking a hymn to Pan, and he would recite that before rocket launches to like bless it and stuff like that. It gets even deeper.
How's that any different than like other people?
What do you mean?
Like, how's that any different than other people who like pray before they do something?
Because whenever I looked up the hymn to Pan, all the websites looked sketchy as shit. That's the main difference to me, was that
all right.
I didn't want to click on any of the links because I was afraid of getting a virus.
Okay, fair enough.
That's at least to me. But it gets even wilder and deeper. As in 1939, after being drawn in by more of these occult teachings and just a general interest in the occult, Jack Parsons and his new wife, Helen Northup,
Did he have a wife before that, or this is his first wife?
This is his first wife. They met, I think, a year or two before this and were married relatively quickly. But they attended a thelemic ceremony and were almost instantly hooked, Lexi. If you
okay, yeah, all right.
And there you go, like father, like son.
Yep. But this is where, again, if you couldn't believe it, when I said it just gets a little weird about halfway through, this is where it all kind of jumps off the cliff and doesn't really come back.
Well, no wonder you said sex cult, because we already talked about Aleister Crowley and how that all went down. So,
and because this is my podcast and our podcast, and I'm just going to tell you that I'm reading this next paragraph verbatim from Britannica, because there's a lot of names and connections, and I really don't want to mess them up. But, quote, Parsons began performing magic rituals, spelled with a K, and attempted to draw friends and acquaintances into his and Helen Parsons' new lifestyle. One of these was Helen Parsons' younger sister, Betty, or Sarah Northrop. In 1941, the Parsonses were initiated into a local thelema commune, and that same year, Jack Parsons began an affair with Northrop, who was 17 years old.
Soon
after, how old was he at the time?
Age gap. He's 27.
Oh.
I just did the math.
No.
And soon after, Helen Parsons began an affair with the spiritual leader of their commune, with whom she had a son. So again, a lot of open relationships and lots of free love. But again, there was lots of names there. But I just had to throw all of that out because, again, I did not want to mess any of those up. But Jack Parsons believed that the thelema belief and their belief in magics could be explained by quantum physics, which...
what does he know about quantum physics?
Look, man, I don't know. Jack Parsons is kind of wild. But yeah.
All right.
He genuinely believed, he's like, oh yeah, I can explain all this stuff with quantum physics. Like, it makes sense in my mind. And he just kind of ran with it. And all of that to then followed up by saying that Jack Parsons loved thelema so much that he ended up buying a mansion back on Millionaire's Mile.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, with what money? How did he? Well, I guess if you're like an air, I guess if you're working for NASA.
Propulsion lab and the school.
Yeah,
and
I guess if you're that smart, then it makes sense. But damn, all right.
And
okay.
He named the lodge the Agape Lodge.
Ooh.
And there are plenty of innuendos to be made.
I hate that.
Why
you couldn't just call it Free Love Lodge or
weird ass
Lover's
connotations
Lodge?
Aside, what kind of a name for an estate is Agape? Like, what? That's just not a good name.
I want to make so let me spell it for you guys, because I'm 99% sure I'm saying it right, but if you want to try to say it with an accent or something different, just AGAPE. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just...
Is it agape?
I'm pretty sure that's
supposed to be agape?
Again, it might be that sounds more magic and mystical.
Yeah, maybe it's trying to be like a more romantic language, just like welcome to agape or something like that.
Well, because the term agape is about love. It refers to a selfless, unconditional, sacrificial form of love.
Well, maybe that's what it went for, but again, when it also just looks like the word agape.
I hope.
No. Because it says here, it can also describe the physical state of having one's mouth wide open in wonder or amazement.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, the ancient Greek agape is the highest or most pure form of love, is what it says in the definition here.
Yes.
I have heard it referenced in the Bible. So
yes.
Okay.
So again, it could be that, but I just wanted to say Agape Lodge because that's just much funnier.
Yeah. I'm really hoping it means agape lodge, and it means like the highest form of love.
Of course.
Instead of
well, don't worry. They're going to do some really high forms of love, because then they began to host sex parties at the Agape Lodge, magic rituals, and further experimentations with drugs and the occult, all while going off and really going back into socialism, which again, another callback. They probably ate off of silverware that was also socialist. So we just hit that one. But sorry.
Okay, so we're on the third connection now.
Third connection, 3 connections. And how Jack Parsons, even though he was literally a rocket scientist, would talk about how he just wanted to be an author of science fiction and just write books about science fiction instead of
He's
being,
dyslexic.
I'm
not saying he can't write a book if he has dyslexia. I'm not like hating on dyslexic people.
I mean, you can definitely write a book if you have dyslexia now. Like, there's tools for it.
That's what I'm saying is like if that was what was hindering him in school,
that's so
to where
funny,
he was having
dude.
trouble reading and writing.
It's so funny.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Jack Parsons also in this time happened to run into probably some of the most well-connected, like most influential people around that time as well, because he met Ray Bradbury, who was a teenager at the time.
I was gonna say, I was like, is there gonna be some crossover with, you keep mentioning science fiction? I'm like,
yes. If you don't know, for those who don't know, Ray Bradbury wrote Fahrenheit 451. So again,
very prolific science fiction writer.
Pretty, yeah.
I adore his works.
One of the most prolific.
I'm very huge Ray Bradbury fan, which is funny because I don't typically like science fiction, but huge Ray Bradbury head.
He met him when Jack Parsons was a little bit older, but yeah, Ray Bradbury was still a teenager, and he was just like talking with him and ran into him at least on one occasion, which is so funny to me.
Was this in like the 40s or 50s? When was that?
I believe so, because I believe that Ray Bradbury was born in 1921. I want to say. I don't want to mess up any of my tabs.
I'm gonna say I'll look him up because I always forget. Yeah, 1920. Yeah, because this was 1920.
Yeah, so this was like late 30s, early 30s. He would have been like just like a very
maybe
young
18
adult
or 19. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Jack Parsons became extremely close friends with one L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh no, no! The other side of the science fiction coin. No.
This is not the science I wanted.
For every Ray Bradbury, there has to be an L. Ron Hubbard, and I hate that.
It's going to be so glorious. It's going to be amazing.
Because Ray Bradbury was actually a really cool dude who like wrote science fiction, but he wasn't a wacko in his everyday life. L. Ron Hubbard was a total wacko.
So, Lexi, you're talking about L. Ron Hubbard being a weirdo. L. Ron Hubbard began to attend meetings at the Agape Lodge. And him and Jack Parsons became friends.
Bro, so Jack Parsons is the reason Scientology exists.
Hey, Lexi, stop reading my fucking outline.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
So, through the sex magics or what have you, the woman who Jack Parsons had that affair with and was seen ended up having an affair with L. Ron Hubbard. And yes, Betty, or Sarah Northrup, as you probably know her, was L. Ron Hubbard's second wife.
What?
If the sources are to be believed, she was the major influence, possible / creator of Dianetics, which Lexi can probably tell you.
Listen. I support all women, but not her. When I say support all women, I don't mean her. Yeah.
So, oh my god! I have to sit back down.
Let me put a nice bow.
Sorry, I had to pace around my apartment for a second.
So, Dianetics, which Lexi can tell you, basically was what turned into Scientology. So, Jack Parsons inadvertently, through his sex magics and partying, might be responsible for the Scientology speedruns that we see today.
Oh my goodness.
He is genuinely the man who tied it all together.
Oh my god. How? How is he everywhere? What would the world look like if Jack Parsons didn't exist?
Exactly, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Camp Mom. Thank you so much. We love you.
Oh, she cooked.
Oh my gosh. But I mentioned it earlier, again, because it's going to get even wilder and weirder. It's why I'm like, yeah, he made a rocket. Or I'm like, I'm going to talk about how he basically helped to make Scientology.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you made a good choice, I think, because the rocket stuff was really interesting. But
this is crazy.
This is so insane. I have had a smile on my face for the last 20 minutes. Like, I am just enthralled by this man.
So Jack Parsons, who was upset at his wife/lover for leaving him while in an open relationship, by the way, ended up casting dark magics upon the house.
Oh my goodness.
And incanting spells and transcriptions, included, but not limited to, in 1945, following an Enochian system of magic, which I didn't know what it was until I looked it up, but it's basically like Renaissance magic, so really old shit.
Okay.
In which Parsons, quote, jerked off onto magical tablets while Sergei Prokofiev's second violin concerto played, and L. Ron Hubbard took notes and acted as his scribe. End quote.
Okay, so
the creator of Scientology watched Jack Parsons jerk off.
So the tablets was like a Rorschach test of what do you see in the jerk off on the tablets, and that's the message.
Yeah, what the hell's the deal with the tablets?
So sorry to Rorschach for that, because
I don't know. I
tried
tried
my
to
boy Rorschach dirty.
I tried to look off. I think my guess from parsing is really funny now to say out of context. Parsing it together of like, I'm assuming that he assumed that there was like magical energy either in the tablets or in his seed. I don't know what else to call it besides just that. And then assume that if you like mix them together, that it would then like create a stronger magical.
Reveal a...
Yes.
Oh.
But after
men will do anything but go to therapy. I swear.
Well, Lexi, it's gonna get so much better or worse. Just wait. After multiple of these magical JO sessions, I wrote that one myself. Because in 1946, a full year later, Parsons decided that he must go out to the Mojave Desert, do a ritual, and while it doesn't say exactly, I'm assuming, again, going to the desert to go jerk off onto magical tablets. And then once he was done, he literally went like, the deed's done. My ritual is complete. And he just went home, and waiting at his home was a woman named Marjorie Cameron, who Jack Parsons believed to have been a summoned Scarlet Woman from the powers of his magic ritual.
What?
So and
why was she actually there? Yeah, why?
So this Marjorie Cameron was an illustrator, a failed illustrator, if you look up from most sources, that she just had a really hard time doing characterizations and illustrations and stuff like that. And she was also, I think it was called a WASP, like a woman... Basically, at the end of World War II, the women that were having to start volunteering for the war, I think it's called a WASP. I'm going to have to click on the word
Women
again.
Air Force Service Pilots.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. She was a pilot. Oh, wow.
Yes.
All right.
But according to the sources, from 1945 until 1946, Jack Parsons was trying to do a magical ritual to summon a Scarlet Woman to be his woman because L. Ron Hubbard stole his wife.
Oh my gosh. Or I thought it was his wife's sister, right?
No.
Who he was having an affair with?
No. His first wife, who he broke up with because she left Jack Parsons for the leader of the Thelema, a different Thelema commune.
Oh, okay.
So then Jack Parsons got with the Betty or Sarah Northrup. I don't know why it always says Sarah, parentheses, Betty Northrup type thing.
She probably just went by Betty. Okay.
Yeah. Betty went with L. Ron Hubbard as his second wife. And so then Jack Parsons is like, well, shit, I don't have any women. Like, I ain't got no bitches.
Summon one.
And instead of actually just going out and like asking some women out, I'm going to go jerk off on some tablets in the Mojave and then come back. And then there'll be a woman there for me.
Man will do anything but go to therapy or talk to a woman. Either one.
Is this like primitive incel behavior? Like
Jack Parsons, the original incel.
I'm just like, dude, what happened to just jerking it in your room and then going about your day?
Honestly, why not just be normal about it?
You gotta have your homie be a scribe for you also while you
True.
But apparently, once Jack Parsons got back and L. Ron Hubbard, apparently Jack Parsons and Marjorie Cameron then began to do magic rituals together. Did more sex magic.
So did she come there because she knew that he was a part of this Thelema thing?
It's not really clear as far as what I could tell.
That's so weird. She's just at his house.
She actively said, I didn't know there was any form of magics or ritual being talked about or being done is like what she's quoted as saying at one point. But then she was eventually like, I saw a UFO. And so like, she was in some way kind of occulty or kind of like a little bit more into that stuff. But then eventually Jack Parsons and Marjorie Cameron ended up marrying. So then now he has his Scarlet Woman. And I'm sure we could eventually tie that into another episode of magic rituals and stuff like that, or marriage, but I couldn't find any more ties to that.
Okay.
And eventually, after a couple escapades with sex magic, I hate just having to say sex magic like it's nothing.
Makes
now.
me think it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Get up and dig it in it. Sorry.
What's it called? They have something like that. Okay, sorry. Anyway.
I don't know. The only sex thing I know about the Red Hot Chili Peppers is Californication. That's like it.
Lexi's doing some hardcore research.
Oh yeah, that was their album.
Yeah.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Oh,
with a K.
Okay.
Well,
That's
there we
where
go.
it has
Sex Magic.
the song Under the Bridge and Give It Away. They're on that.
Give it away.
album.
Oh, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
So anyway, sorry, I knew that sounded familiar.
No, you're fine.
That's important. That's the fifth connection now.
It is. We're
It's not actually after we've talked about
the Red Hot Chili Peppers. How could you forget them?
Let's not.
Yes,
Let's
it is
not.
a connection. We just haven't made it yet.
Ooh,
True.
let's not. I love some of their songs, but they're no.
Love their songs, but
Fair.
nah.
Yeah.
Eventually, Jack Parsons kept doing more and more research and more science and rocket shit. And he basically created the first solid rocket propellant, which ties back
interesting.
into the episode on when Arkansas almost blew up.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that
is that what
substance that
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was in the underground.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god, he made that?
Yes, he was the first
Oh
person
my
to make
God.
the first solid rocket propellant, which again, when we talked about rocket propellants from that episode,
Trying to keep it under a certain temperature.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's the fifth connection.
Yes.
Wow.
The man who actually tied it all together, yes. But again, I mentioned it much earlier, but again, without Jack Parsons and a lot of the help that him and his Suicide Squad did, which is so funny just to say,
Yeah.
the technology of rocket fuel and propulsion genuinely might not be at the level that it is today, which could be a positive, could be a negative. Like, there are positives and negatives to it, but we'll move on from that real quickly.
Yeah.
And sadly, this story does have a bit of a sad ending, as Jack Parsons and his Thelema followers began to dwindle, as the highs of sex parties and being in a cult wore off. The expenses on the millionaire's mile estate began to be too much, and Parsons ended up selling the property to a developer for $25,000 US, under the condition that he and his new wife could stay in the coach house out back.
Okay.
And after taking this money and trusting his good friend, L. Ron, Jack Parsons invested a majority of that into a company that L. Ron Hubbard created, whose business plan was to buy yachts on the east coast of the U.S., sail them through the Panama Canal, and sell them for a profit on the west coast of the U.S. But because if we ever do an episode on L. Ron Hubbard, you'd come to find out really quickly that it was a scam.
Oh my gosh, no way.
What?
And
L. Ron Hubbard doing a scam?
What? But L. Ron and his wife instead used just a large portion of the money to just buy themselves a yacht and go sailing for fun around on their friend's dime, as well as anybody else who happened to put money into the scam.
Wow.
But Jack Parsons caught on eventually, a little too late. Sorry, Jack. And L. Ron tried to talk him down and be like, no, we're going to make money and da-da-da. But Jack Parsons ended up tracking down the yachts and the closest port and began to cast spells from his hotel room to have the couple return to land and be punished for their crimes.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, did it work?
So the couple did return back to land, which Jack Parsons very adamantly said, it was because of me and my spells. I was the reason
Okay.
that they came back to land. Basically, I think what happened was one of the boats, or just the yacht, hit a squall line and damaged the boat, and then they had to come back to port. Which, take it or leave it if you think that Jack Parsons has actual magic powers or not. That's up to
No.
you. But Parsons was able to get at least a portion of his money back, but still lost a majority of it to his now former friend and former love interest. And I don't know why I wrote this exact line. After losing a lot of this money, though, and realizing he couldn't just jerk off on tablets all day, Jack Parsons tried to get back into the field of rocketry. but was denied clearance after being investigated by the FBI for having connections to the Communist Party before World War II.
McCarthyism.
Yes, this is the time of the Red Scare.
Oh.
Wow.
And even though Jack Parsons did not really believe in socialism anymore and actually talked against it, even the fact that he talked about communism in a positive light pre-World War II was enough to basically like get any and all of his security clearances like removed.
Wow.
And he ended up having to take random jobs here and there and ended up writing a paper called Freedom is a Two-Edged Sword and claiming that he was indeed the Antichrist.
Wow.
This is okay. So this is where the Satanist art comes in. Okay.
And so here's an image that his wife drew of him as the Angel of Death. Also, if you'd like to put that one on screen.
Okay.
So,
not gonna lie, that does go really hard.
Why?
Actually does look sick as hell.
This looks like some Star Wars fan fiction. Like, this looks like...
It looks like edgy teenage art. I'm just going to say it. If you can't see, Lexi, can you describe it for the audio listeners, please?
So it's basically, anatomically a man, but he's shrouded in these dark, like, cloak or maybe smoke sort of things. He's got big black angel wings, and his hair looks like he touched one of those, like, little globy things that makes your hair stand on end. And he looks like an absolute edgelord. That's why I'm saying this looks like some Anakin fan fiction.
That's
Pre
true.
Star Wars.
That's kind of why I like it, though.
I kind of like it for that part of it too. It's very
I do like it stylistically. The whole context behind it is
she's a decent illustrator. I mean, I think I can tell what this is. So
it's true.
Exactly.
So by that metric, it's better than what I could do.
Yeah, same.
Agreed with me.
But even though he now is calling himself the Antichrist, and he was just taking, like, I think he got a job literally at a gas station during this time. He didn't stop trying to make money and support himself and his wife. He kept taking what jobs he could and going forward. And he ended up catching the ear of some of his former friends who realized that he had fallen on some hard times and some bad luck and helped him get a job at an aircraft company. And that sadly did not last very long, as he was still being watched by the FBI, as the Red Scare was still in full swing for a very long amount of time. And after Jack Parsons removed some confidential documents, he was fired, lost his security clearance, and was about to be charged with espionage.
Oh my goodness.
But in the end, the judges decided against it, but still removed his security clearance for the final time and said he could no longer have any security clearance. So I believe
I'm shocked
also
he got it ever again.
Yeah. But I believe that it was for the Howard Hughes aircraft thing, I think. Who also, Howard Hughes is a famous aviator and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That also kind of comes into effect here in a couple lines of my draft. But after he lost the job with that, he ended up having to take a job in film, doing special effects work for like explosions and like smoke and stuff like that. And it's because he could no longer work with government agencies and stuff like that. He also made a full workshop at this coach house in the back area, and he rented out the top to some other people again just to make ends meet. He did a lot of stuff in this time. I think he even like distilled absinthe, I think was one of the things that he was trying to do.
Yeah,
okay,
there. Hold on. Sorry. We have to go back here for a second.
Okay.
Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes is the one that was known for having body doubles, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the inspirations for Robert House in Fallout. That's how I knew that. Okay, because I was like, Howard Hughes, that sounds familiar, but I don't know anything about aviation. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that's how I know that guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that.
Cool.
How dare you improve and add more cool things to this topic, Lexi?
I'm so Fallout pilled.
But so Jack Parsons, after getting fired from the Howard Hughes Corporation and by the FBI and all sorts of stuff like that, was just doing whatever he could to make money. Again, working in film. He would make little smokes, little charges and stuff like that.
About what time was this now? Like
1951 into 1952.
51. So, okay.
More into 52, as we're going to find out, because on June 17th, 1952, after just taking up that job, making the special effects for film, he got a rush order for a large amount of explosives and like charges to go off on a movie set. And he had all these materials at his workshop in his house, but ended up causing an explosion that is still debated about to this day. Whether it was an accident, of Jack intentionally ending his own life or even a plot to kill Parsons by either the powers that be or more specifically Howard Hughes, the owner of the company that Jack was fired from for removing these confidential documents. But he blew the hell up.
He wasn't very old either. He was like 37.
Yes, he was very young.
That's wild.
Shit. Okay.
But
Here's
he blew the hell
thing.
up.
He knew his way around an explosive, so I think that's a little sad.
Thank you, Lexi.
Jack Parsons didn't kill himself. Sorry.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But yes, so I will describe this very quickly because apparently whenever the upstairs people that he was renting out the top of this house to were like, what just happened? And came downstairs. He was still conscious, even though one of his arms was blown off. Both his legs and his other arm were broken. And he had a hole through his face, but he was still awake and like alive at this time. But
like Phineas Gage.
Oh my gosh! Another connection.
The sixth connection. They both got holes in their heads.
They do. Oh my
it's
god!
It's like the Infinity Stones. Oh my god!
Let's go.
Just the image of Thanos snapping the last one in, and it's just a photo of Phineas Gage with a hole through his head. But Jack Parsons was taken to the hospital and was declared dead 37 minutes after the explosion rocked a large area, because it was a very large explosion.
Yeah.
It rocked a lot of the California area. And there's a lot of info that goes against itself when coming to people discussing how he died, of course, because like Lexi said, like, oh, he knew his way around explosives, he knew his way around chemicals. The official one is that, of course, it was an accident, that his hands were sweaty and he happened to drop some form of mercury or mercurial fluid on the floor, and then it caused a chain reaction, which then caused all the other things to blow up.
Okay.
But multiple of his coworkers and friends were like, Jack was always like never sweaty, was never like very shaky or anything like that. Like that doesn't really add up. Other people say that like Jack was very scatterbrained and would have like kind of stuff just lying around everywhere.
I mean, no shade to him, but he does kind of give me a scatterbrained kind of vibe. If anything in this episode is to go by.
Exactly. So those kind of went against each other, but kind of not at the same time. One of his people who thought that Jack was murdered believes that the explosion came from underneath the floorboards, which would then add a whole other layer of this, because also Jack Parsons at one point, I didn't write this in here because it was just a very quick thing, but one of the most famous images of Jack Parsons is him holding a recreation of a car bomb, where he was the expert explosives witness on a case of the LAPD against a private detective. And so
oh my goodness,
people also think that he might have made enemies slightly even with people in that realm as well. So again, there's lots of people and lots of different ways that this could have gone. But yes, Jack Parsons sadly died, had no children, and he was cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the Mojave Desert.
You know what?
As well
where
as
he liked to jerk it. From where you came, you shall return. Amen.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
So literal.
Oh my god. Lex, you got to make a short out of that one. All right. But he was cremated. Apparently, his wife also burned almost all of his possessions, which I don't really know why. And then
was there like a ritualistic reason? Maybe
I assume so.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But then it also says that she then tried to commune with him through what's that called when you like reach out to the space and heavens and stuff, like the astral projection. Tried to astrally project to talk to him later.
Okay.
But that's about it. He passed away and is, at least as far as I know, the man who single-handedly connected the podcast to itself and is the callback of all callbacks in terms of the podcast. So,
wow.
Thank you, Jack Parsons.
The sheer cross of all of the people he interacted with or whatever, like, I mean, stemming from like Aleister Crowley to the Jet Propulsion Lab at Caltech, which is, you know, and then helping NASA, basically. He met young Ray Bradbury. He was buddies with L. Ron Hubbard and, like, got his wife stolen or whatever, his lover stolen. Then he worked for Howard Hughes and then got blown up. Like, what? What in the... This man was 37.
Yes.
Most of all, he was a dude from San Francisco.
So true. Then that's so true.
For a moment. I don't think he was in San Francisco that long.
I don't think he was either, but I had to mention
was the Millionaire Mile
that was in Pasadena.
San Francisco? Oh, it's in Pasadena. Okay.
I wanted to try to also connect it to Orange County when we mentioned Orange County, but I don't think he ever lived technically in Orange County, sadly.
Oh,
but
dang.
maybe he did at one point.
So close.
I know. It was almost the
where
seventh
was
connection.
Caltech at? Is that in Pasadena as
California.
Wow.
Pasadena.
Man.
I just think it's Pasadena.
Okay.
Oranges.
Thank you again,
Diff.
Camp Mom, for this. This was more than a treat, and
wow.
It was a meal.
It was. Of course, all of the sources will be down below. The main ones being, of course, the Caltech did their own article, Britannica, Supercluster, and then Wikipedia for some fill-ins and some images and stuff like that. Lexi, do you have any, I don't want to say JO connections or whatever, but do you have any,
oh my
ways to
God.
tie this all together?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I was just going to say, you know, it really poetic from where he once came, he so too returned. Amen. Can't get more holy or magical than that. But you know what's really magical to us is all of our patrons over on patreon.com, on Camp's Patreon, on Gurdon's Patreon. Once again, thank you so much for your guys' support, and gals and non-binary pals, everybody. Thank you for your support. We could not be making this random podcast and making these connections that are so vital to our lives without your help. So thank you so much. As always, let us know if you have any topic suggestions. Like today, we did one, so woohoo. And I will write those
down. Good job, us. Yeah, good job, us. Woo.
Yeah. We're doing good on our own podcast. So
thank you for the love on the Uterus Chon episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that one's been doing well.
Yeah.
It's a lit.
It's a very nice.
So
yes.
Let us know them spicy topics, and we will cover those. And we do some random ones ourselves. I got a couple ideas from just this episode alone today. So thank you so much for listening, and stay magical with a K.
Woo!